Hi guys, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the circle of fifths with you. So the circle of fifths is a really powerful tool that musicians can use. It helps you become more familiar with chords, keys and notes, and it's really useful. So let's get started. Let's fill out the circle of fifths. So we're going to start off with C, and as we go clockwise we're going to be moving in fifths, so a fifth above C would be G, and then let's fill it out. So the next one would be D, then the next one would be A, and the next one would be E, the next one would be B, and then F sharp. So if we want to go the other way, we just go back in fifths. So for example, C, back a fifth would be F, then B flat, then E flat, then A flat, then D flat. So that is the circle of fifths filled out, and there's three different ways we can see these letters, and we can see them in either notes, we can see them as chords, or we can see them as different keys. And let's go over that. So if we want to see them as notes, what we can do, these notes, these letters each represent a note. The circle of fifths is useful if you want to maybe create a fifth harmony for a particular melody. So if one of the notes in your particular melody is C, you know, a fifth above C would be G, and to use a G on top of that C. Or for an example, if your note was F sharp and you wanted to harmonise a fifth above that, D flat would be the note you would use. Also, you can use it to find out fourths as well. So if your note was a C and you wanted to harmonise a fourth above that, then you'd go backwards and F would be your note. So if you go backwards, it actually ascends in fourths as well. So clockwise is fifths and anti-clockwise is fourths. Another thing you can use the circle of fifths for when seeing these notes as notes is finding the fifth note of a chord. So as you might know, a major chord is made up of a root note, a major third and a fifth, and a minor chord is made up of a root note, a minor third and a fifth, and in both these chords there's a fifth. So if you wanted to find the fifth, obviously you would just skip to the next note, and that would be the fifth note in your chord. So for example, if we wanted to find the notes on the D chord, we've got D, you're going to have your third here, which unfortunately you can't use the circle of fifths to figure out, but you would just go up 4 frets and that would create a F sharp, and then our fifth would be A, because it's just one note along clockwise in the circle of fifths. So your fifth would be an A, and that's how you can work out the fifth in any particular chord that you would like. So I hope you can see that all right. So these letters could also be seen as chords as well. When you're in a particular key, in a major key, the most popular chords used are the root, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. Those are the most used chords in pop music especially. So an easy way to figure out what your 1 chord is and your 5 chord is and your 4 chord is in a particular key is obviously your 1 chord. Let's say we're in C. Your 1 chord is the C. Then you go clockwise to find the 5 chord. So G would be your 5 chord, and then F would be your 4 chord. And then this is really useful because if you want to transpose a song into another key, you can just use the same formula to figure out what the 1, the 4 and the 5 chords are. So let's do that. Let's do a song in A flat, and we want to figure out what the 1, 4 and 5 chords are. So obviously the 1 chord is the A flat, because that's the key we're working in. If we want to find the 5 chord, then we go clockwise, and that's an E flat. If we want to find our 4 chord, we go anti-clockwise, and that will be our D flat. So that's easy to figure out your 1, 4 and 5 chords. Now, I'm going to fill in this with the relative minors, and I'll see you in a second. Now, if you don't know about relative majors and minors, I'd suggest going and researching quickly what relative minors and major keys are. But basically, to summarise quickly, your relative minor is basically the sad version of your major key. So, for example, C major, your minor version of the key would be A minor, and that would be the kind of sad version. It's all the same notes within that key, but if you base it around A minor, it'll be a bit more sad. So you got your happy and your sad keys. Now, we figured out how you can find out your 1, 4 and 5 chords in each key. Now we can figure out your 2, 3 and 6 chords, which would be all your major and minor chords in one key if we just do the same thing. So if we're in C major, our 4 chord is our F, and our 5 chord is our G, but our 2, 3 and 6 chords are here. So this section here is all our diatonic chords in our key, and our 2 chord would be our D minor, our 3 chord would be our E minor, and our 6 chord would be our A minor. And literally these 6 chords here, you could play any of them together and they work really well with each other. So that brings us on to keys. One useful tool of the circle of fifths is you can find out how many sharps or how many flats are in a particular key. So let's start with C. C's obviously got no flats or no sharps, and as we go clockwise, we're going to add sharps to each key. So we've got C, G has 1 sharp, D has 2 sharps, A has 3 sharps, E has 4 sharps, B has 5 sharps, I think, yes, correct, and then F sharp has 6 sharps. And then if we go backwards, we can figure out how many flats are in a particular key. So F has 1 flat, B flat has 2 flats, E flat has 3 flats, A flat has 4 flats, D flat has 5 flats. Okay, so we can actually figure out what these notes are as well. So if we start with the sharps, C has no sharps, G has 1 sharp, and our first sharp note will be 2 notes behind. So my pen's just decided not to work in the middle of a video. There we go. So G, F sharp is our first sharp, and then if we move to D, we know we've got 2 sharps, so we're going to maintain that F sharp and add a C sharp, and we've got 2 sharps there, which are F sharp and C sharp in the key of D. Then if we move to the key of A, we're going to add the G there, and we've got 3 sharps there, which is F sharp, C sharp and G sharp, and so on, 4 sharps in the key of E. And then if we move backwards and find out flats, F has 1 flat, and that flat will be the one behind, or the one next going anti-clockwise, so our flat would be B flat. Then in B flat, we'd have 2 flats, So obviously we'd have the one afterwards, and we carry that B flat over. So we've got two flats, B flat and E flat. In E flat we've got three flats, so we take the one afterwards. I'm sure you can see the pattern here. E flat, B flat and A flat will be our flats. So it's not as important to know the sharps and flats as a guitarist as other instruments, but still really, really useful to know. Knowing this, we know that, for example, C is not very different to G because there's only one different note, which is the F sharp, as opposed to F in the key of C. So we know that if we were to change key from C to G, it's not going to be that difficult, as we're only going to have to introduce one new note. Whereas if we wanted to, like, maybe go from G and change key to D flat, that's on the other end of the spectrum. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different notes. We know that that's going to be really difficult to transition to and sound good. So we might want to change key to D first and introduce one new note, and then transition around the circle of fifths. So once we reach the D flat, it doesn't sound like we've introduced too many notes that don't sound good, and it will be more pleasant on the ear once we've changed key to D flat, if we've transitioned through the keys and introduced new notes slowly. So that has been my video on the circle of fifths, and if you found it useful, please let me know in the comments. If you want to learn anything else in particular, please drop that in the comments too, because I'm open to suggestions. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.